here, he's interested in making the exchanges go out of business so that their criminal friends on Wall Street can go buy these exchanges free of charge. And then they're going to change the rules. Everything's going to become easy all over again. You know?
Well, they always tilt the rules in their favor. Oh, and it all stems back. Well, everybody's getting hurt because of FTX.
Right.
And, FTX. And the funny thing about FTX, though, too, it really wasn't a crypto thing. It was because he took the money that went in there for the crypto and moved it.
To get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There'll be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Unified TV will take over Netflix. We're bringing in the next genre of movie producers and storytellers and actors and actresses. And we're telling the story of how the world is going to be on earth as it is in heaven. Jassara Nasara is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. Gold and silver right down below. Promo code Mel Carmine. Make sure you use the promo code. Almost $8 billion in sales. We're direct to like a bunch of mints. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. Our Patriots are literally waiting for you in the room. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want. Well, good evening, folks. We got a couple of New Yorkers. Well, he's half Italian, half German, and she's all Italian. Okay, so we're paisans, if you know what I mean, right? And we start talking. Steve and Laura have the pleasure right now of going and transacting through my broker, obviously, because they live in New York. They're punished, but they got a brother-in-law that lives over the border in New Jersey. You know what I mean? So we're able to finagle the bagel, if you know what I mean, and we're able to go a different route through the back door, and they're still going to get their XRP. Isn't that wonderful? Guys, I know you guys are awake. We've been talking for quite some time now, a couple of times on the telephone. I'm like, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. I'm going to invite them to a show. So here we are, guys. Welcome, Laura and Steve from New York. How you doing, guys?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about your experience, and then we're going to segue into this crazy matrix world that we all live in.
Matrix.
Well, it started a while ago when my wife was, going on Telegram, and what else was it? Just Telegram. And she came across XRP.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, you know what? At the time I had Coinbase. So I says, let me go and, do a little bit of research on this. And lo and behold, you're not allowed to purchase that if you're in New York. I says, okay, well, then let me see, because then they talk about getting XLM and shifting it over. Want to purchase XLM? No, you can't purchase that either. So I found it kind of funny that there were only two cryptos that I wasn't allowed to purchase out of however many hundreds there are. So then I started to do.
You got your identity stolen.
Well, my identity stolen was something different back before that.
But you had to get your.
I had to go jump through hoops in order to get because like she said, my identity was stolen, and so I had to jump through hoops through Coinbase in order to get my account back up and running, which I tried to do. Still haven't to this day. Mm-hmm. I am not allowed to do any trades whatsoever. And
they say it's under review.
It's under review. It's under review for months and months and months.
You have to wait. You have to wait.
They're incompetent there. That's all I have to say about that.
I kind of went crazy on them yesterday.
So anyway, I started then doing research into XRP and the nuances of it and what it's actually going to be. And it's going to actually, from what I see, because it can actually conduct transactions in nanoseconds, which means that the banking XRP will be what the banking system will use, and then XLM will be what the everyday consumer, us, will probably wind up using. So I says, well, if this is the way it's going to go, I says, I want to get in on it, but how do I get in on it now? That's the big thing. And
found you.
And that's how we found you. And it was like, we got to try and circumvent this nonsense that of not allowing us to purchase this. And I can't see why. And then I find out, well, it's because of the SEC, they say. All right, well, I look at it like, all right, the SEC is involved in this. But why is the SEC only involved with XRP and none of the other cryptos? That's the key thing that I look at. And I say to myself, something's not right. If they're going to try and call it either a commodity or they're going to call it something other than a cryptocurrency, then wouldn't you deem every crypto the same thing? Because that's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, good. I mean, it's insane.
It's a criminal act. It's choreographed. It's deliberate. It's intentional. It's by design. That's what this is. You got to be dumb, deaf, and blind and stupid not to understand what's going on. This is all kabuki theater. We know that the lawsuit was settled a long time ago. We proved that in spades. By the way, my wife is the one that turned me on to XRP too. I was with the Bitcoin guys.
Hey, yesterday was Women's Day, right?
Yeah, Women's Day. See, so you got to give. Hey guys, I'm going to tell you something. Listen to the wives; they might lead you to billions of dollars by default. I'm telling you.
And not only that, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, these guys are criminal. Now they're having trouble with the Coinbase and all these exchanges. They're making it hard for all these exchanges. You know what's going to end up happening? This guy who's a criminal, as far as I'm concerned, he's right up there with John Gotti, for crying out loud. He actually makes John Gotti look like a nice guy. Okay, Gary Gensler. This guy here, he's interested in making the exchanges go out of business so that their criminal friends on Wall Street can go buy these exchanges free of charge, and then they're going to change the rules. Everything's going to become easy all over again.
Well, they always tilt the rules in their favor. Always.
Oh yeah.
And right now, if you look at like the bonds for Coinbase are selling at 40 cents on the dollar right now. They've laid off, from what I saw, they laid off about 25% of their workforce already.
Right.
They're bleeding money out like crazy, bleeding it out like crazy. And it all stems back. Well, everybody's getting hurt because of FTX.
Right.
And FTX. And the funny thing about FTX, though, too, it really wasn't a crypto thing. It was because he took the money that went in there for the crypto and moved it to the girlfriend's actual like brokerage house, in a sense.
Right.
And then they were just funneling money to themselves.
And to the Democrats.
So I mean, in a sense, it's kind of like a false thing against crypto when you look at it, because it wasn't really like he just stole money, is what it was.
Oh yeah,
it had nothing to do with crypto. He just stole the money,
and they're all in on it. All the Dems are all in on it.
Oh yeah, because how much money he went and he donated to all of the Democratic candidates. How much money?
Didn't Maxine Waters blow a kiss to Bankman Fraudman?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really? You think maybe there's some conflict of interest over there, or what?
Well, there's anything with the Congress and the Senate, there's conflict of interest. How do you make $165,000 a year and afford a $3 million home?
174.
174. And how do you make that? That's your salary. Now, me and my wife barely made that together.
And I'm not.
We never even.
I don't have $10 million in the bank.
We never thought of even being able to purchase a $3 million home. How is that even possible? And they all do it. They all do it.
They all skim off the top. That's why.
And well, plus every one of them is on some kind of a committee.
Yeah.
So there's all of the lobbyists
they get paid
that are in there, and the lobbyists are paying them. And then when they get kicked out of the Senate or Congress, they come back in as a lobbyist themselves because they know the ins and outs. They're in there, and They're getting paid from the lobbying firms, and they're paying off their buddies from the lobbying firms. It's
like a vicious cycle.
It's disgusting. I mean, there's a reason why Congress is their approval ratings. It's like 23%, and that those but that 23%. What are they doing? Are they like down at the beach with their head in the sand? I don't get it. How they could approve? It just goes to show me how can this president still have a 40% approval rating? How is that even possible? How is it even possible that's
it's a typo. They meant a minus 40%, minus zero, minus 40%. Yeah,
it's got to be because I can't see it any other way. It just makes no sense to me.
40% minus zero.
Right.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Listen, I met a guy here. I got to tell you the stories. That's a funny story. I go to the local farmer's market and my wife spots this guy. His name is Martin. He's German. He's like, you're half German, right? You'll appreciate the story. So my wife says, look at that guy. He's got a fancy camera equipment. He's got a fuzzy microphone with a cat hair on it, whatever. He's like, because I bet you he's a podcaster. So I wave at him from like a distance. He waves back. I wave him over. Start talking, start having a conversation. First thing I said to him, you didn't do that medical procedure that nobody wants to do, right? He says, absolutely not. So today I was talking to him. I said, you realize that if you would have said yes to me on that question, I said, the conversation would have been dead right there and then. Been on over. Done. Yeah. That's my IQ test, Anyway, he's a podcaster. He owns a little a podcast. He's trying to teach people who are enthusiastic potentially about moving to countries like, Costa Rica, Panama, and so on, called, what did I mentioned it earlier. What did I say? Do you remember?
No, I can't.
Costa Rica something.com. I forget the name of the, I'll put the link down below, guys. I'm sorry. This is, when you hit 60 years old, when you're almost hitting 60 years old, this stuff happens. It's called.
That's me.
Yeah.
It's June.
Yeah.
I forget a lot.
All about Costa Rica. All about Costa Rica. All together on YouTube. Right. Go give them a follow. All about Costa Rica. And so we started talking. Next thing you know, guess what? He's buying XRP. He's so excited about it. He bought like few thousand. I'm not going to say the exact number. He bought a few thousand. He's going to be fine, And so we're talking today because I'm going over his house because we're going to be roasting some coffee and we're going to be doing a podcast while we're roasting coffee with a commercial. He's got he used to actually be in the coffee business, so he's got a commercial.
Like big industrial roasters, then.
Yeah. So we're going to roast coffee. We're going to talk about his podcast and we're going to talk about XRP because even though he's sold on the XRP, he's still not fully on board with Nasara Jasara and the debt forgiveness. He just can't wrap his mind around that this is going to wipe everybody's debt away, which, by the way, I just did another podcast a couple of days ago, another debt forgiveness. This guy happens to be one of my editors.
Really?
Yeah, he says
I haven't educated my husband on Nasara Jasara yet. I've mentioned it a few times, but he hasn't looked at the whole. I've read it many times.
Well, what she does, like when she gives me something, I mean, I do extensive research on it, and I've been spending weeks now just looking through XRP and XLM, just like doing extensive research on it, and like what is it really going to be? What like. Because at first, like, she wasn't even sure. Like, at first she said,
"Oh, I let him handle all like the
Because at first she goes, "Oh, XRP is backed by gold and XLM is backed by silver." That's what she first originally says.
That's what I thought. That's the way I read it.
So then when I went and then started doing research on it, I says, "No, it's much more involved than that."
But then I was telling him about the quantum financial system, and I say that all the time and people don't believe me. And I said, I think we're going to switch systems. I know some people in banking, they know nothing about it. And I'm like, I believe things are happening behind the scenes. There's been non-disclosure agreements, I believe, with some high bank. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you're allowed. Laura, how did you find me? What did you punch?
I can't remember who was on Telegram that forwarded one of your podcasts. Then I noticed that you were on YouTube, and then I had him go on YouTube and watch a couple of your podcasts to get more, introduced to XRP and XLM, because obviously I just don't understand that whole, he does all the stocks and buys the stocks and stuff. I never, I handle all the science parts and the Nasara Jasara and all that rabbit hole stuff.
Steve, now financial advice. You got money in the stock market?
Not a lot right now.
Okay.
I basically, like, I have a 401k, but I dropped it into stable because I can't pull it out yet, but I also don't want it to be anything aggressive. So I have basically everything that we're involved in, because she also has a 401k. So
no, I had a 401k, and then I used it for, like I said, I was an x-ray tech, and I got laid off and I didn't want to do it. And I had an opportunity to open up a business with my son. And of course, he didn't have any funds. And my husband found this Rob's program where you can take money out of your 401k and roll it over and then use the cash to open up a business. So that's what I did. So now I own,
which is something that's very good too. If people do want to do that, where you have money in your 401k, it's called the Rob's program.
ROBS.
And you have to get an attorney who specifically deals with that. But basically what they'll do is they'll take the money from your 401k, they convert it into shares in your new business that you go and form up. So you have now working capital to start a business if you want to, instead of just letting the money sit in your 401k. Especially now, like you said, with the market's going to.
Yeah, I'm glad. I would have lost so much money if my 401k was still in there. So at least I got to keep my money, and I open up a business. Yeah. So now at least for myself.
Because the stock market's going to take a massive hit. The housing market's going to take a massive hit, especially like in certain areas, like up here by where we are. I kind of judge things by like where we live is because it's highly priced. It's like one of the highest priced areas.
It's over exaggerated.
Yes, and they go into bidding wars.
Yeah,
they go into bidding wars. But I look and I say, like, and my own kids go to me. They go, "How are we supposed to afford a house now with interest rates going up and what they want to charge?" You're talking minimum up here for something decent is $600,000 to $700,000 to start.
Yeah, with no land,
with nothing. They're like, "How do we afford this?" And I say, "You can't." That's the sad thing. So something's correct with that.
Yeah,
I mean, my father passed away 2 years ago almost, and then me and my brother had to sell the house that we grew up in, and a man of a certain ethnic background came and puts $400,000 cash down. I'm like, "How's this happening?"
Yeah,
I mean, comes in 400 cash down and then renovates the house too on top of that. I'm like,
yeah, most of us can't do that.
We can't do that. None of us can.
No, it's crazy. Now they've made it so difficult. I mean, they're literally not trying to wipe out the middle class. They are wiping out the middle class.
Oh, there is no more middle class. Yeah. There really isn't. I consider us more on the poor end than on the the higher end. Because
why do you think I picked up and came down here? Well, first of all, is that medical procedure. My wife would have to do 7 of those things without mentioning what those medical procedures are. You guys can read between the lines. You guys are smart enough out there.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
If I was still an X-ray.
So the bottom line is, like, so we came down here, our expenses are lower, much lower than the United States, but things have gotten progressively more expensive. Why? Because the New World Order doesn't, I mean, Costa Rica is not immune to the New World Order. Somebody came down here and say, "Listen, I know meat. Mel likes to eat a lot of meat, okay? And the meat here is delicious, but it's all grass-fed, grass-finished. It's organic. It really is. And the milk here tastes amazing. I mean, if I ever leave Costa Rica forever, I'll definitely miss the meat and the milk and the cheese, and it tastes amazing. But anyway, long story short, somebody came down here and said, "Hey, you guys get that thing called universal basic income, right? What is that? What is that? That they give all the countries. What is that? There's a name. Is it?
No, it is universal basic income.
It's a universal basic income on a large scale for countries, but there's a specific name for it. I can't think of the name for it. But if you guys
it's called welfare.
What is it?
Up here, it's called welfare.
Yeah, well, if you guys want to continue to get those billions of dollars that the United States gives you, you got to play ball and you got to raise the price of the meat, even though the grass grows down. It's not like we're importing the grass, so the price goes higher because the grass is being imported and it's cost 10 times more. No, we got Costa Rica's like what, Saudi Arabia of water. It rains here all the time. It's green. If you land here and you don't know where you're at, you think you're in Ireland.
Yeah, we were there once in Costa Rica.
You know, it's like, so what's the excuse for raising the meat 3 times, for example?
You know why they don't want you to eat it?
Well, let's say Klaus Schwab, right?
He wants you to eat the bugs.
Yeah. So
foreign aid, that's what it's called. Foreign aid. Okay. Foreign aid. They give it to all the countries. The way it works is like this. They give it to all the countries, and then they get a kickback in the United States. All the politicians, they get 90% of that money. It ends up in all the politicians. It's the biggest scam.
Of course it is. It's like,
and that's our money.
I mean, I'd like to know how much of the money that's going to the Ukraine is actually getting kicked back.
Oh, it's a disaster. It really
because it's just like, you know, and here's something that, you know, really, really gets me like in the goat bad. Yeah. Like they haggled over and had problems with when they had to pass the bills for the first responders to go and fund for their health care and whatever else. And it was maybe $8 billion or whatever it was. Start of that, there was a problem is because you had all of these shitty, scummy politicians who would go and sign on their nonsense bills onto this one bill because they knew that if they tried to push their bills through, they would never get passed. Never. So this was a slam dunk bill to begin with.
Yeah.
They couldn't get it passed. And then they were haggling over the money. $8 billion for the first responders. And then they, less than 24 hours, okay, send $850 billion to the Ukraine. Like that. 10 times the amount. Like without even batting an eye.
Wow.
I mean, in less than 24 hours, they passed that.
Well, you guys were getting sick.
Guess what? And how much of that's coming back? How much of that's going to cycle back into all their coffers? It's staggering. I don't even want to begin to even think, you know, of how much of it.
You guys sound like 2 pissed off New Yorkers.
Yes.
You know what? You live up here long enough, and it really takes.
But you know, as bad as you think things are, I talk to people that understand constitutional law. My good friend now, Rebel, out of California, she's like my sister from another mister, who's very highly intellectual. I mean, she's a whole other level, you know, 190 IQ, brainiac. Her and I get into some very deep conversations. And man, things are so hosed up, brother. They're 10 times worse. They're 100 times worse than you think. As much knowledge as you, I'm telling you, it's at a point where you understand that at the level that Rebel and I have been going down some very deep rabbit holes, you say, holy shit, maybe this thing cannot be put back together. Maybe we have to go get those, you know, those tools in the shed, so to speak. Maybe that's the only way out of this.
I tell you what, because like she's always telling me all the time, my wife, like, oh, you know, like things have to happen at a certain pace. Things have to happen at a certain time.
I try to tell him
but I tell her, but I go like this. I'm to the point where I'm like going,
he has no patience.
Well, it's not that I don't have any patience. It's what happens if it gets to a point where the damage is done to such a degree that you cannot reverse it. That's what I'm worried about.
That's where we're at right now. That's what Rebel and I are talking about right now. And she's talking about the Flynn's.
If there's supposed to be a plan in place, it's like, what are they waiting for? I don't want to hear that there has to be X amount of people that are awoke in this country to what's going on, because what's happening is now the damage is being done that in certain instances where you go ahead, guess what? It's irreparable. And that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm really worried about. And I'm not worried about me and her, because, you know, I lived my life.
My kids,
the next generation.
We have 3 grandchildren. We have 5 children.
I do not want them to live in a...
But they did such a great job keeping us distracted with, Steve, come on down. You are the next contestant on The Price is Right. Yay! Woo!
Yep, concerts, football games, you know what I mean?
Well, but they keep them with TikTok, and Facebook and the social media thing, and everybody just like this now with their phones, like everywhere
These
you go.
kids have
like,
these kids have no clue.
They have no idea. They don't. They'd rather go and look at the
sometimes
they'd rather watch Jersey Shore than to actually go and learn something.
Yes.
Learn the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Plus the fact that there is no repercussions for anyone's actions anymore anyway either. So that's another thing. So you can do whatever you want now. There's no repercussions for it. You know?
Totally.
It's just we're going down a path that is just it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I just explained to her. I just said to her, I said, when was the last time that you saw that a Walmart's, that 200 and something Walmarts were closing? When was the last time you ever heard that?
No, usually open.
Never, right?
When was the last time you heard that they're burning down meat factories and food production factories all over the world, even in Italy? This is happening. Is there a deliberate plan to starve humanity because they couldn't kill you one way, so they're going to try to kill you another way? The poisoning of the food and your toothpaste and the GMOs wasn't enough.
No, because it wasn't fast enough.
Now you can't even get the GMO because it's going to be not on the shelf because some factories burned down.
Yeah. I know.
But like what they're citing with the Walmart is they're trying to say is because of theft now, because the cash and grab, like smash and grab. The smash and grab is just they're allowing them to walk into these stores and just openly loot and walk out.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. And now the stores are going, well, you know what?
We can't stay open.
We're not staying open.
Well, in California, you could legally go into Walmart, Kmart, Target, and steal under $1,000. They can't touch you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You can walk in. You can walk in and choose not to go through their cash register and walk away with a $999 TV and 99 cents, as long as it's under $1,000. And you can walk out that door legally and they can't touch you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane.
So that's an invite to go do it, right?
Oh yeah.
and then who pays for it? The good people who have to buy, who legally.
Well, that's why I want the Steves and the Lauras and the Johns and the Tom, Dick, and Harrys of the world to open up a podcast and start making some noise and start beating the drum. Just let's go already.
Oh, you know what I mean? She red pills everybody she sees.
Wherever I
go. Wherever she goes.
I'm on the food line. I'm
not on competition with anybody. I want everybody to have a voice. Get a $49 microphone. That's what this costs, $49. Okay. Mount it to your table and start talking. I'm not in competition with you. I'm not in competition with anybody. No, exactly. I want everybody to make noise. I want this thing over.
Wake up.
Yes.
Wake up, please.
Yes. Yeah. You already got the computer. You already got the high-speed internet. You need a microphone. You got a voice. Don't worry about messing it up.
Yeah, true.
You're going to mess it up. That's part of life. Yeah. When you started walking, did you walk right away or did you fall on your face a couple of times?
Yeah, that's right.
More than a couple of times, probably. Right? That's what my mother said.
Yeah, I do. Wherever I go, I try to, and sometimes my kids are like, "Oh, Ma, stop."
Yeah. How are my brokers treating you? Talk to me about that for a little bit.
But I've been emailing back and forth with the one guy that you gave me, and so he's basically
they're like Johnny on the spot, aren't they?
Yeah, but I'm surprised too because of the time difference too. I'm actually like, he must be. I go, this guy must be nocturnal. I mean, he's like, because
he must not sleep.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 24-hour operation. It's over 300 brokers. They're in Europe. They're in UK. They're in Australia. They're spread out all over the place. They're about to open up more.
Australia. Yeah, the one I saw was Australia, and I was like, going, oh, this guy, unless someone else is actually.
Yeah, they're 24 hours around the clock. 24 hours. Nobody goes to sleep there.
Yeah, so my brother-in-law yesterday had to do the verification program. And it's very simple, just the front back of your license and take a picture of yourself, selfie, send it over, and that was it. And then they were like, okay, Thank you, and we'll get back to you within 28 to 48 hours.
So
24 to 48 hours. So either tonight, sometime he might hear something. I don't know when we finish the podcast, find out.
They already wired the money in already, or no?
No, we have to wait until they actually approve
the KYC, know your customer.
Yes. So once they do that, once they do that, and then we were gonna look into sending it through Coinbase, but that's not an option anymore. It's like, because like I said, my brother-in-law, and now he had no fraudulent activity whatsoever on his account.
It's a brand new account.
Now I don't know if a red flag went up with them, because he purchased $10,000 worth of XLM.
Right.
He was allowed to purchase that in New Jersey, but not the XRP.
Right.
Here in New York, we're not allowed to purchase.
Well, that's what I tell everybody. Just get yourself Exodus.io wallet, which you can swap it over. Exodus. You download. It's a software wallet. Never been broken into, but I still like my hardware wallet's the best. The links are down below.
This is
I make $4.20. Yeah, there you go. Bingo. All right. Right. Don't click on any random link on the internet. Think you're buying it from Ledger. You're buying it from a hacker like 70% of the time. And then you'll call me and say, Mel, my money's gone. Yeah. Because you don't listen to simple instructions.
Like if they're like to purchase it, like either they purchase it through you, or they can go to one of the big box stores and get it. But I
still rather them go directly to the link, because I don't know that the box stores are dealing directly with the manufacturer. They probably are, but it's always to be safe. Now listen, what I'm trying to tell you is and I don't make any money for giving you the information. Say, man, this is all about the money. No, it's not. Okay, so I'm going to give you a freebie right now that is priceless. Anybody who lives in New York, listen up. Okay, you go to whatever you could buy let's say you want to buy $5,000 worth of extra. You don't have 10,000 to go through my broker. You can only do 5,000. Right? You go directly to Coinbase or one of these that sells XLM. You download it onto your wallet that you downloaded called Exodus.io. You swap it over for XRP. You take it from your Exodus.io wallet, put it on these things. Done. You got your XRP. Did I make any money on that? Zero. Free information.
Now let me ask you something too.
We appreciate it.
Can your broker directly send it to the hard wallet, or does it have to go to the Exodus?
No, go to Exodus.io. Once you swap it over, your XLM, you swap it over for XRP. Let's say you bought $5,000 worth of XLM.
I'm talking about like us now, because we're dealing with your broker directly.
Right now, you're dealing with my brokers. You're going in for a lot more than 5,000-10,000. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if you live in New York, you got one extra step you got to go over the border, go drive into New Jersey, go sit in a parking lot at Starbucks, use their internet. Okay, go buy your XLM, put it on your Exodus.io, swap it over, put it on these, and you're done. Then you drive over back to communist New York, and you do it while you got your finger up. Say, hey, what do you call it, Governor? Can you see that? You want me to turn it up?
Governor Hochul.
Yes. All right. Simple.
What? Oh no, I just got hit.
I just got having fun. Yeah. See, I'm all over the place. I don't even remember that the record button is on. I'm just having a conversation with you, just like if I met you guys.
So we just
it just flows. It's just like how it was years ago that when they would sign up for the gambling sites, they would have to go over the bridge to do whatever they had to do, and come back. Until New York finally realized how much they were losing in revenue, which is all it's all about.
It's always about the money, yeah. Always
all about the money. Just follow the money and you'll find out what's happening. And sure enough, before you know it, New York allowed internet gambling. So now it's legal here. And, it's just, and as long as they can get money.
As long as they got their hands in your pocket, it's perfectly legal. The minute they can't have their hands in your pocket, it becomes illegal. It's funny how that happens.
They want to ban it.
And then they say that they don't have a spending problem. They have a revenue problem.
Oh, yeah.
That to me is just like what when you calculate how much money it actually costs a New Yorker, it's upwards of almost 70% of your income when you figure in your income tax that you have to pay on a federal, state, and city level, because if you live in New York City, so you get taxed on when you go and earn your money, and it comes in. Then when you got to go spend it, you're getting taxed on.
Yeah. That's why they're fighting this blockchain, because it's a trustless system. They don't want a trustless system. They want a system where they could screw you until the end of time.
Right.
Oh, listen, that's, if you look back, like when it all started, like with Coinbase and all that too. I mean, part of me kind of understands a little bit when they say if it's not regulated, there can be clandestine things going on. Yes, obviously, with drug deals and things like that.
With no drug deals ever gone down with the U.S. dollar, right?
Well, this is what I'm saying, because they all deal in cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like, because the government's not going to approve anything until the government can take.
They're not even good at coming up with a rebuttal. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that what? The world's never seen any drugs because we had such a tight grip on the U.S. dollar and the euro, and nobody can transact in drugs? Really?
No, just look at what happens just over the southern border every day.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's
how does this movie end, guys? According to Stephen Law, how does it end?
Well, God wins.
That's what we're hoping. Like
I pray every day.
Because like with all of the.
But God is going to help those who help themselves. God is going to help those who get
I've always said that even to my kids.
God helps those who get a microphone and become obnoxious.
Well, you got to take the cabal down. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, but
that's the bottom.
If there's all of a sudden, if I can have my cake and eat it too, guys, with all due respect, if I can have my cake and eat it too tomorrow morning at 9:00. YouTube is going to have an influx of like 50 million new podcasters, 50 million people on board microphones, and you got they won't be able to delete the accounts fast enough. They would have to hire the Black Lives Matter, the lesbian movement, whatever. They have to hire everybody because we're going to come at them like a bunch of ants.
Right.
And
we all should.
Well, the thing is, more and more people have to really realize what's happening to them. That's what it comes down to, is what's happening to them. They can't start just like, I guess, what do you want to call it? Be more involved with superficial things,
right,
and stupid things.
Yeah,
and start to realize the things that really are going to affect them. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day, but eventually, it's going to affect you. Eventually, it's going to affect everybody.
And that's how they take freedom away, a little at a time, so you don't feel it.
Well, I think we are at a point where people are absolutely, without question, waking up in droves. But yes, guys, I think I'm probably guilty as charged. I think I gave the cabal a thought. I said, a year ago, I said, you got to get the box of eggs up to $15 and you got to get the gallon of gas up to $12 and then everybody's going to wake up. And 2 months ago, somebody sends me an email saying, or a message on Telegram, I think it was, Mel, you're not going to believe this. The eggs in Manhattan reached $19. They superseded by $4. $19.
Even though they said it come down the other day, I went. It was like $5.50. It was like,
so come on. I'm thinking maybe the cabal is listening to me saying,
"I mean, listen,
genius, Mel, $15 for box eggs. No, let's make it 19.
Well, 15's not. That's not enough.
The more this happens, the more truth comes out. The more people wake up, and that's what we need.
We need the American people to wake up. They have to wake up.
But waking up is not enough. You got to stand up. You got to get vocal. You got to get loud.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Well, like I said, she read pills everywhere. Everywhere we go. Yeah. It's sometimes I go, okay, all right.
I have young, teenagers working for me. I'm teaching them the Constitution. I'm doing whatever I can to wake them up, and then have them tell their friends so they can wake up. Because I tell them they're not going to like the world that they're going to live in if they fall asleep right now.
No,
they're not going to like it.
We were just down in New Orleans for like a 4-day little vacation, and we're walking down to the French Quarter, and of course we get hit by these people, these nature people who are like, oh, can you donate, and we plant so many trees and blah 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 blah. Before you knew it, we turned it around. We were lecturing them. Instead of them lecturing us.
Yeah,
and you had like 5 of them just sitting there listening to
I was red pilling all of them.
And these were young kids. These were young kids. They were.
Listen, I got the perfect cure for liberalism and Marxism and communism, whatever you want to call it. I said, I guarantee you, I said, I'll get everybody, even the guy that's got no money will scrounge $5 out of their piggy bank and donate and we'll bring in like $1 billion and fly a bunch of these liberals over to North Korea and give them to Kim Jong-un, okay, and let them stay there. Let them stay there. When they get on their knees and they're after 6 months or a year that they're on their knees crying, begging to come back, we're going to leave you there for 2 more years just to make a point.
That's right. I agree with you.
And I guarantee you, these guys will be snapped out of their Marxist bullshit.
Yep.
Well, because
like that.
And it's funny is because like when you say something like that, look at how many people have come from communist countries.
Yes.
That actually lived under it and say, are you people crazy? Are you people crazy? You do not understand what you wish for. You have no idea what you're wishing for, what it is, and what, socialism and communism and
people from Croatia, people from Cuba, people from China living in the United States, yelling and screaming at our people, and they've been poisoned with the water, they've been poisoned with the toothpaste, they've been poisoned with the food, they've been poisoned with the fungicide, herbicide, all this BS from Monsanto's.
Yes.
They're the first thing you got to fix is the pineal gland, the brain. If the brain cannot absorb and understand, how the hell are you going to fix anything? And then you can feed them a little bit at a time. We got a lot of work to do, man.
We certainly do. I'm trying.
We need everybody. We need everybody on board. Seriously, Laura.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's going to take a lot of work.
Send an email to my wife. Say Mel wants us to be part of the round table, and you guys didn't even know you were being auditioned, but you are. You're now part of the round table.
Okay.
Okay. I heard of that.
Yeah. Okay. So send an email to Amber. We're going to put you on that list. This way, every time we decide we're going to do a podcast, whatever, come on in, man. Just let's let it rip, because you know what?
Absolutely.
It takes everybody.
Yeah. And it's like,
I want to talk to
like-minded people.
Oh, yeah. It's like I can't even talk to these idiots anymore. I can't. I mean, it's like, oh my God. It's like, it's not like that I'm better than they are. I'm not.
No,
that they're on a different planet.
I just want you to see what's going on.
It's like they're missing the boat in their head that makes them understand.
They think next year is going to be like a regular election cycle. This is not about that anymore.
2024, if we have a presidential election in 2024, the chances of us having a country is slim and none. There's no way. This movie has to end this year, preferably by June, July, August this year.
I said to her it had to end last year because it's just the damage that's being done daily.
I really thought it was going to be fall of this past year. I really thought it was going to be in the fall.
I thought it was going to be last year too, and I was wrong. It's like, look, here's my argument. I think it's a legitimate one at that. We've been paying these bastards quadrillions of dollars over the last 100 years. Yep. Okay. And now we just want the monster that's got our quadrillions of dollars to disappear in 22 days. Not happening.
No.
Right. No.
When you got quadrillions of dollars, these bastards, these evil monsters, collectively, they got quadrillions of dollars of our hard-earned money. They have the wherewithal to cause a lot of problems, and they are.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's
so true.
And after a while with them, it comes a point where the money loses its luster and it becomes power.
Yes.
Where the money means nothing now, but they still want it.
Well, when did they bring in the Federal Reserve? 1913, Christmas Eve, while you guys were busy eating turkey and ham with, some brown sugar on the outside and telling dirty jokes. You guys were completely distracted. They sold your ass out to the Federal Reserve System.
And we got the fiat system. Yep.
Right?
Yeah, no. I look at it, I say it like this too, is like when Mike Bloomberg ran for mayor of New York.
Mm-hmm.
He had all the money in the world.
Sure.
All right. So why would you want to run for mayor of New York? Why wouldn't you just want to enjoy and spend your money? Because the money meant nothing to him. Money meant nothing to him anymore. Now he wanted the power.
Sure.
Well, how do you start to get the power? Well, you become the mayor of the biggest city in the world. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because believe it, and then what does he do? He goes and adds himself a third term.
Oh, yeah.
Overturns the charter, gets himself a third term, and then returns it back to where you can only serve 2 terms.
Right.
Just to get himself in. But it was also because he had aspirations on the White House, just like Hillary Clinton. What did she do? She carpetbagged. She became a senator in New York.
No, she was from Arkansas.
So what is that? The money. It's not money anymore now. It's power, and that's what it is. They want to have power over you. They want to control you. That's what it comes down to.
Money, my teachers in high school and grammar school will tell you that Mel Carmine was uncontrollable, and I still am.
I have a feeling they're right about that.
Yeah. My mom used to get called in. My mom used to get called in all the time. I said, he's really smart, but he's like the Rock of Gibraltar. He goes, you can't penetrate him. He's going to do it his way no matter what you tell him.
What do the Italians say? Gabadost.
Gabadosta, exactly. Yeah, hard-headed.
Definitely a thinker, though. You're definitely a thinker.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm going to hold you over for a couple minutes. I had a blast. I can't wait to get you guys on a round table with the rest of them. We got some cool characters on there. Guys, spread this far and wide. You guys are the digital soldiers. You guys are just as important as going out and getting a microphone. Spread it out there. If you can't get a microphone, you don't have the huevos, you don't have the balls to do what we do, that's fine. But at least, get us out there, all right? This way we can beat the algorithms. We'll catch you on the next one.